All right, let's talk about it. The NFL draft is right around the corner, and if you're a Chiefs fan, you know exactly what's on everyone's mind, fixing that offensive line. After watching Patrick Mahomes battle through pressure all season, it's obvious that protecting him has to be a top priority. Even with the addition of Jalen Moore, there's still a lot of uncertainty about whether this unit can hold up in 2025. That's why most experts believe Kansas City will use their first-round pick on an offensive lineman. The names you keep hearing? Josh Connerly Jr. and Josh Simmons. Both are considered solid prospects who could step in and help Mahomes stay upright. It makes sense, right? Build from the trenches, protect your quarterback, and set yourself up for another deep playoff run. But here's the thing. What if the Chiefs don't do that? What if instead of an offensive lineman, they make a move that no one saw coming? The NFL draft is full of surprises, and Kansas City has never been afraid to think outside the box. That's exactly what the Sporting News' Vinny Liar is predicting. In his latest mock draft, he has the Chiefs passing on an offensive lineman and instead selecting a running back, Omarion Hampton from North Carolina. Yeah, you heard that right. A running back in the first round. It's a bold move, especially considering how things turned out the last time Kansas City drafted a running back in the first round. We all remember Clyde Edwards-Helaire and how that pick didn't exactly pan out the way everyone hoped. So the question is, would the Chiefs really take that gamble again? Let me know in the comments. Do you think Kansas City should prioritize protecting Mahomes with an offensive lineman, or are you open to the idea of adding a dynamic running back instead? Vote below, and let's see where Chiefs Kingdom stands on this. And speaking of that running back, let's break down Omarion Hampton and what makes him such an intriguing option. So, let's get into it. If the Chiefs actually go with Omarion Hampton in the first round, what kind of player are they getting? And more importantly, why would they take a running back when the offensive line is such a glaring need? First, let's talk about who Omarion Hampton is. He's a 220-pound wrecking ball out of North Carolina, known for his bruising running style and ability to break tackles. Last season, he racked up impressive numbers, proving he can be a workhorse back at the next level. Hampton isn't just another speed guy. He's a three-down back who can grind out tough yards, catch passes, and even hold his own in pass protection. That's a rare combination, and it's exactly what the Chiefs' offense has been missing. Now, you might be thinking, why go down this road again? After all, the Chiefs already took a first-round RB in Clyde Edwards-Helaire back in 2020, and that didn't exactly turn out as planned. CEH struggled with injuries and consistency, eventually losing his spot to Isaiah Pacheco, a seventh-round steal, who brought a much-needed spark to the run game. But here's what makes Hampton different. Unlike Edwards-Helaire, who was more of a finesse back, Hampton brings power. He's built to handle a heavy workload, something Kansas City hasn't had since the days of Kareem Hunt's prime. And let's be honest, while Pacheco runs hard, he's not the kind of back who can take over a game by himself. Adding Hampton would give the Chiefs a true 1-2 punch in the backfield, making life easier for Mahomes and the passing attack. And that's exactly why Vinny Liar thinks the Chiefs might pull the trigger. With the run game ranking 26th in the NFL last season, adding a dominant back could help balance the offense in ways we haven't seen in years. So, what do you think? Would Hampton be a game changer for Kansas City, or is the risk too high after what happened with CEH? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should the Chiefs go for a power back like Hampton or stick with Pacheco and focus on another position? And speaking of the backfield, let's break down exactly how Hampton would fit alongside Pacheco and Hunt if the Chiefs decide to make this move. All right, let's break this down. If the Chiefs actually draft Omarion Hampton, what does that mean for the running back room? Right now, Kansas City has Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt as their primary backs. Pacheco has been a fan favorite ever since he burst onto the scene as a seventh-round rookie, bringing his relentless running style and high energy to the offense. And while Hunt isn't the same player he was during his first stint in KC, he's still a valuable veteran presence. But let's be real. This group has its limitations. Pacheco runs hard, but he's not a true three-down back. Injuries have also been a concern, and his aggressive style makes you wonder how long he can hold up over a full season. Hunt, on the other hand, has lost a step and isn't the same explosive playmaker he once was. That's why adding Hampton could completely change the dynamic of this backfield. Hampton isn't just another rotational back, he's a workhorse. A guy who can handle 20-plus carries per game and wear down defenses. Imagine a scenario where Pacheco keeps his role as the high-energy spark plug, Hunt provides veteran leadership and third-down help, and Hampton becomes the power runner who can take over games. That's a dangerous trio, and it's exactly the kind of balance that could take the Chiefs' offense to another level. And let's not forget, Kansas City's run game wasn't great last year. They finished 26th in the NFL, averaging just 101.2 rushing yards per game. For a team that relies so much on Mahomes, having a consistent, punishing ground attack would make everything easier. Play action would become more effective. Defenses wouldn't be able to sit back in coverage, and Mahomes wouldn't have to play hero ball every single week. So now the big question, if the Chiefs bring in Hampton, what happens to Pacheco's role? Would he lose touches? Or would this be a perfect 1-2 punch? Let's settle this right now. Drop a vote in the comments. Would you rather see Pacheco remain the feature back? Or do you think Hampton could be the future of the Chiefs' run game? And speaking of the future, there's still a massive debate going on. Should the Chiefs even be considering a running back at all, or is offensive line still the bigger priority? Let's get into it. All right, now we have to talk about the real debate. Here. If you're Brett Veach sitting in the war room on draft night, do you really take a running back in the first round? Or do you go the more traditional route and bolster the offensive line to protect the most important player in franchise history, Patrick Mahomes? Let's be honest, the offensive line is a real concern. Mahomes was under constant pressure last season, and while he does a ridiculous job of making plays under duress, that's not a sustainable way to run an offense. The Chiefs already signed Jalen Moore, but that move alone doesn't fix everything. That's why experts have been linking Josh Connerly Jr. and Josh Simmons to Kansas City. Both are young, athletic linemen who could step in and solidify the trenches. Now here's the argument for drafting Hampton instead. Even the best offensive line can't fix a lackluster run game if you don't have the right personnel. The Chiefs finished 26th in rushing yards per game last year, and outside of Pacheco, there just wasn't enough consistency in the backfield. Hampton could immediately provide that, giving Kansas City a physical, game-controlling runner that forces defenses to respect the ground attack. But then, let's flip it. What if the Chiefs pass on a lineman and Mahomes keeps getting hit? We've seen how dangerous he is when he has time to operate. If the Chiefs go RB in round 1 and the O-line struggles again, will they regret not investing in better protection? This is where I want your take. If you were running the draft board for Kansas City, which position are you prioritizing? Drop your vote in the comments. A. Offensive line. Keep Mahomes upright at all costs. B. Running back. Give the offense a real ground threat. Whichever way Kansas City goes, the decision will shape not just the 2025 season, but the entire future of this offense. And with draft night approaching fast, we need to start thinking about what comes next. So, let's wrap this up and look at what to expect as the draft gets closer. So, where do we go from here? The Chiefs are staring at one of the most intriguing draft decisions in recent memory. Do they stay the course and shore up the offensive line, or do they take a swing on a game-changing running back like Omarion Hampton? No matter which way they go, one thing is clear. This pick will have a major impact on the team's future. If they draft an offensive lineman, Mahomes gets the protection he needs, and the offense becomes more stable. But if they draft Hampton, they're betting on a dominant run game that could take pressure off Mahomes and keep defenses guessing. And here's the wild card. What if the Chiefs trade up or down? We've seen Brett Veach work the draft board before, so don't rule out the possibility of Kansas City moving up for a top-tier lineman or trading back to acquire more picks. That's why, as fans, we need to stay locked in. The rumors are going to heat up as draft night approaches, and we'll be covering all of it right here. So, if you want the latest Chiefs updates, make sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on. But before we wrap this up, I want to hear from you one last time. If you had to predict right now, what do you think the Chiefs will do? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's get this conversation going. Draft night is coming, and Chiefs Kingdom is in for a wild ride. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning.